Hello and welcome to Under the Visor, the weekly Formula One podcast where one of us knows exactly what he's talking about.
And the other one is still very much learning.
I'm Karl.
And I'm Tom.
Oh, okay, that's different. And this week, I did like that, yeah.
Thank you.
This week, we're going back in time to what might be one of the most dramatic seasons in modern Formula One. We're going back to 2016.
Yes, this is a good one. Crashes, teammate rivalry, a world champion in the making, new rules, a bit like what we've got this year. All change in Formula One. Lewis, dominant, everything, and it all switches around, and then a big, dramatic duff at the end of the season.
Yeah, which I still can't get over. But yeah, let's get into it.
Before we start, not much news this week though.
No.
So we're not gonna. They're all still banging on about Verstappen. The only thing I've heard is Martin Brundle go basically either stop crying or leave.
Yeah,
but that's it. Nothing's really happened. It's been a quiet week. There was a bit of tyre testing. Nothing that exciting. We're not going to be one of these podcasts that make clickbait you into something. Nothing's really happened this week.
No.
So like you say, let's get into it. 2016 season.
2016, yeah. So going into the season, Lewis is current champion from 2015.
Yeah,
and is very much favourite to win, and it will be 3 in a row if he was to win 2016. So he was very much the favourite.
Dominant car as well. The Mercedes is still miles ahead of everyone else. Everything pointed it to Lewis making it, like you say, 3 in a row.
Yeah, but obviously first race of the season, Australia, and already chaos sets in, right?
Yeah, not even in the race. We're talking about qualifying here. Yeah,
so they introduced a new format, didn't they, for qualifying? Do you want to quickly run it down?
Yeah, so basically instead of the normal knockout format, they introduced like timed elimination systems where drivers would get knocked out every 90 seconds. It was very weird. They were trying different things to make everything more exciting. It didn't work. It was just nobody really knew what was going on. It was all like, right, now you're out, now you're out, now you're out, now you're out, and it never really made any sense.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, it was awful. Drivers were just sitting in the garage, and at the end, because no one wanted to go out, and it completely killed the session because they all wanted to go out as late as possible to get the best track and everything like that. So it was a terrible system.
Yeah, but immediately the drivers kind of almost revolted and just refused to go out, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much, and it was scrapped. After one race.
Yeah.
One of the quickest rule changes, apart from what we're probably seeing now in Formula One, where they're again, that was because it was bollocks, basically. It was the worst thing they could have done.
Yeah.
It was just shocking. Didn't work at all. Whereas now we're seeing, I think that was the quickest rule change ever for something that wasn't a safety problem. It was just, what were we thinking? Until now, we're seeing.
Were there any other changes that year in terms of cars or regulations or anything?
So, a lot of regulations changed this year, and I wish I'd looked them up before we started the podcast. I know that I'm pretty sure it was the first year that ERS was brought in, which is the start of the electrical hybrid sort of era. But yeah, there were big rule changes this year, I'm sure.
So looking at it, expanded tyre compound choices this year.
Yeah.
Stricter radio communications, which we'll come on to later.
Yeah.
And a record 21 race calendar.
Yes, it was the longest race season ever, up to that point.
Yeah. So they introduced a 5th compound, the Ultra Soft.
Yeah.
They obviously introduced the new elimination style format for quali. They also, to aid struggling teams, manufacturers were permitted to supply year-old power units, allowing teams like Toro Rosso to use the 2015 spec Ferrari engine. Minimum car weight was increased. Cockpit protection was improved with higher padding. Additional safety, including this virtual safety car, was expanded to practice session. 21 races, the most in history at the time. Debut of Baku City.
Yeah.
And stricter rules were applied to track limits and penalties for gearbox power unit changes.
Right. So, I mean, there wasn't the introduction of hers, but it was still early on, I'm sure. So, yeah, there were rule changes. They were trying different things. It was sort of a weird season for trying. Obviously, we know about qualifying.
Yeah.
And then we move into the race.
Yeah. So massive crash, right?
Humongous crash. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. For Alonso,
yeah,
it was Alonso and Gutierrez. I believe it was the first year for Haas as well this year.
Right.
And he sort of clipped Gutierrez's back wheel and just absolutely flew through the air, somersaulting, smashed into the barrier. Debris everywhere. It was crazy. And he got out, luckily. And I remember him saying at the time, he said he got out, he saw a little gap and he got out quickly because he knew his mum would be watching the screen and panicking at that point that, you know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Haas's first year as well. But yeah, this was a big old crash.
Yeah, I mean, he was very lucky in that the way the car span, it almost corkscrewed through the air, but it also did a 180, so he hit the barrier back on.
Yeah, he was very lucky.
So they were saying I watched a race season recap video today to get up to speed on it, and they were saying if he'd have hit its front on, we could be talking a different, different outcome.
And also remember, there's no halo system back then.
No,
the halo system hadn't been brought in, so if he'd gone into it like the tires, again, and we'll see throughout the season. I believe there was a crash this season where, again, they're talking about the halo and stuff like that. Because it was in talks at this point, and they were trying to work out whether they wanted a visor system or they're going through all sorts of crazy ideas.
So the biggest thing that came out of the crash for me was there was obviously a red flag because of it. Alonso asked if they could get the car repaired to get him back out on track at the restart. Literally with debris everywhere. He was like, "Yeah, they just rebuild it.
Just rebuild it. Why aren't you doing it now? Come on."
Yeah.
But yeah.
Unlike in '96, where you'd have just ran and got in the spare car.
A bit like
Brundle.
And it was the same corner.
Was it?
Brundle's crash, yeah. So obviously Brundle then run back, got the spare car and carried on. Cost cutting, cost saving, money saving, blah, 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 blah. You can say whether it's better now or better then, would whatever. But yeah, he obviously he didn't have that choice.
But Nico went on to win it.
Yeah, went on to win the first race, beat Hamilton hands down. And yeah, it was quite surprising that Nico was that dominant that early on. Because obviously Hamilton had been beating him. Remember, Nico and Hamilton are childhood friends. Until they arrived in Mercedes
together, didn't they?
Karted together, came up through the ranks together. When Nico won his first race, there was all hi, hugs and kisses and whatever. And at this point, their relationship is very on a knife edge, and this season ruins it. They're not friends after this season. And I'm not sure how much they've become friends again, but they were the best of friends.
Yeah, well, he actually went on to quite a dominating beginning to the season, didn't he? He won the first four: Australia, Bahrain, China, Russia.
Yeah. And he was dominating at this. Hamilton did have some problems. He got taken out in the second race of the season at the start. Had floor damage and wing damage and stuff like that. But when he got to China, especially, there was a massive gap. He was calm, consistent, and every driver says, "Well, we're not thinking long term," but then everybody's talking about it. Surely this is his season. But he must have been. Even though people say he wasn't thinking long term, he must have been a bit.
Yeah.
He's never won a world championship. In fact, the season before, coming into Australia, I think he'd only won 4 races.
Right.
That was the dominance of Hamilton. If Mercedes were winning, Hamilton were winning. And then, his dominance in the early season, with a bit of bad luck for Hamilton, was progressing.
Yeah, so Lewis was having issues. Bahrain, race 2, contacted with Bottas.
Yeah.
He was having bad starts, reliability concerns, and he just didn't seem to click very early on.
No, but this is Hamilton, so you can never rule him out. The Ferraris were very dominant as well. You had Vettel and Kimi. Not Antonelli, but Raikkonen. And they were very dominant as well. They were very, very quick cars. Haas were doing extremely well. They scored points in their first ever race. They got 6th in Australia. And it was just a good start to a season. Obviously, you had which we are going to talk more about later, but you had the young Max Verstappen in his 2nd season.
Yeah.
Also in Toro Rosso. Now, Karl asked me a question before we started recording. Toro Rosso, it's Racing Bulls now. It's been AlphaTauri. It's the Red Bull sister team that they call any different name what they fancy advertising that year. In this year, it was called Toro Rosso. Then it moved to AlphaTauri, and now it's Racing Bulls. So, in case you're confused, it's still exactly the same team. They just rebrand it every now and then to, like I told Carl, AlphaTauri is Red Bull's clothing brand. If you've never seen it, they do some quite nice stuff. It's not to do with racing. It's their clothing brand, AlphaTauri, which is Alpha Taurus, which is the Alpha Bull, basically.
So then we hit Europe, and Lewis kind of shows why he's the reigning champion, right?
Yeah, so we get to Monaco, Canada, Austria, Silverstone, obviously, Hungary, Germany, and Lewis goes on a run, and we really think, oh, it's turning around. Here we go, back again. Lewis is going to win the season. It's just, it's going to be, it's a bit like the Schumacher days where everyone thought, oh, it's just Lewis dominating again, and people going, but yeah, so he went on a big run.
Yeah, Monaco wasn't great for a few people, right? It was quite a wet race, yes. Right?
Yeah, it was classic Monaco chaos. There was strategic gambles paying off, and Lewis, obviously, as we've just said, goes on to win it.
Yeah, things got a little bit spicy in Austria.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where one of multiple collisions between Lewis and Nico started. Yes. That's kind of where we start really seeing the rivalry form.
Yeah, they do have a few coming togethers. We can list them if you like. Okay. Spain, both crash out lap 1.
Okay.
Canada, there was contact. Austria, Nico gets front wing damage after contact with Lewis again.
Spain was a little bit insane though. Both like you say, like you're about to say, both Mercedes out immediately, and that's when you realise this isn't just teammates; it's more of a real head-to-head war. Childhood friends really going at it. And I the only way I can relate to this is when I was karting back in 90. You've never mentioned you used to race.
Yes, well, we don't need to bang on about it. But it was 2005, and I was karting, and I had a really good friend. I won't mention his name because whatever. Really good friend. We got on really well, but he was too nice, and we had some few coming togethers and this like that. And then we were fighting for the championship in 2005. Both of us. We were both head to head. He would win one, I'd win one, blah, 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 blah. And I hit him. Not on purpose.
I was going to ask. I was holding off asking.
It was probably a late lunge, and I hit him, and I sent him into the wall. There was quite a lot of damage, and he couldn't continue, and I went on to win the championship. And we never spoke again. Ever. And it's one of those things where as soon as you change from we're going racing as mates, blah, 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 you're not winning anything, or this season you're not winning anything, it's a bit of a laugh. Oh, good on you. And when you come to that, everything changes. You want to win. It doesn't matter. And yeah, I won it, and that was it. We didn't speak again. And I don't think he raced much after that either. Well, I didn't race for too many years after that. But yeah, so it's one of those where it's like you can say about Twitch streamers, or you can say about whoever. If that's your industry and you are dominating it and you want to dominate it, you've got to be a cock, basically. And that is what is happening. You've got two people who are absolutely determined to fulfill their dream. Lewis for another time, Nico for the first time, and it spirals in this.
Yeah. How does Mercedes handle that? Like, do they? Well, I mean, can't be easy.
You can't do a lot apart from be truthful and say, look, this was clearly your fault. Right. Next time it happens, that was your fault. You know, all you got to do is work with the facts, and you can't argue facts. But as soon as they see favouritism going one way or the other, that's when it would hit boiling point. And obviously, Nico always thought they favoured Lewis, and in this season, Lewis probably thought they were favouring Nico, and I'm sure he said it a few times. It's just impossible, and we saw it with last year when Lando was winning the World Championship, trying to win the World Championship. He came together with Piastri. Canada was a perfect example. The difference between that is Lando held his hands up straight away and said that was completely me. Yeah. That didn't happen in this season. It was always the other person's fault. So yeah, it was a very tense situation.
I mean, it must be difficult though when you've got two title contenders in the same car. Yeah. I mean, it's different if you're in different teams, but yeah.
You have to sit next to each other at the briefing and a debrief. You have to look at him across the garage. You know, you have to share your data with him, and all sorts. And Hamilton, as we know from when he was Alonso's teammate, he isn't always the cleanest. I don't know. Sorry, it was Alonso was holding him up. Sorry, I apologise. It was Alonso that held him up. So I cannot remember a time that Hamilton did dirty tactics. I'm sure there has been, but you know, everyone wants to win, and they'll do anything they can to win. Yeah.
And then we kind of get into, we touched on it briefly in the intro with the regulation changes, but there is some more controversy around rule changes, this time with radio, right?
Yeah. So this was a little bit of a, basically they wanted the drivers to drive the car. Now what you would have in the season before is the team would tell them everything. Go to strap 5, move this button here, go to B, have you had a water, there's car behind you, there's this, go do this to change this. And basically the team were driving the car, the drivers would obviously press the button to do this. And the FIA had enough of it and banned all forms of driver coaching, driver instruction, everything. And it's come back in now more. But they literally, the team couldn't do anything. The driver had to drive the car, which I think is fair. I think it was a good, not a terrible rule change, but maybe they took it slightly too far because they couldn't tell them anything. They couldn't tell them who was behind them, what was going on, what, you know.
They're not even telling the gap.
No, what temperature were the tyres? They couldn't tell them anything. No.
Right. Okay.
Because so the drivers had to drive the car, and it was all to do with like engine modes and.
Well, yeah, Lewis had the wrong setting on his car in Baku.
Yeah.
And was asking him on the radio what he needs to change it to and what he need. what button or dial do I have to change? And they were like, yeah, so we can't tell you that, Lewis.
Yeah.
It was like, well, I'm going to lose the race then.
Yeah. So yeah, there were a few occasions where it got called into question. But they literally couldn't tell him. It was considered giving away a technical advantage, is what they called it.
There was one instance of I don't know whether they're in the pit lane or what, but I saw a clip. One of the drivers was stationary, and I think there was a pause in whatever they were doing, whether it's quali or practice or race or whatever. And he said, "Oh, so does that mean I can get out and go for a wee?" And they replied with, "I can't answer that.
Yeah, I can't tell you.
Can't even tell him whether he can go to the toilet or not."
Yeah, it was very, very strict. But it's like any new rule that comes in, it's always terrible when it begins to come in. It's like the new cars.
Yeah.
You look at it, you go, "Oh, I don't know why have they done that?" Or, "Oh, why is it all there?" No one's talking about it now. We're already 2 races in. Granted, we've all gone on holiday for 5 weeks, but and that's the thing. People always have to go to the letter, and then they find a loophole, or they bend round it. And all that happened is they. I know this is just an example. They didn't do this, but they just go, "Oh, do you want ketchup in your cheeseburger?"
Yeah.
And that would mean that Verstappen's 4 seconds behind him, and you need to go to strap 2. Or then they go, "Oh, gherkins? Yeah, gherkins. Okay, so I move my thing to strap 5. You know, they always find a way round it. And I think we have a good balance now where, you know, these things are like spaceships. You can't hold enough information. You're doing 200 miles an hour, 2 inches from the wall that side, 2 inches from somebody that side, and you're going, what bloody button was it? What did he?
Let's have a radio to Radio 1.
Just pull this up. What was that? What was the button? And you just can't hold that amount of information. And even they've said this season, it's even harder again. And if you take a steering wheel from, I don't know, 1982, there are probably 2 buttons on it. Talk to the pits and have a drink of water or something. Yeah. It was all manual shifting. And look at it now, you know, what was it the other week? Who was playing something on there?
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, you know.
Yeah.
They're crazy. I mean, so, yeah. So they took these rules to the extreme, shall we say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it wasn't great.
So should we talk about the Verstappen arrival a little bit more?
Yeah, so he had a very good season the previous season, still driving for Toro Rosso. And then, you know, mid-season this year, he gets promoted.
Yeah.
To the senior team, Red Bull.
Yeah, and got promoted, had his first race in Spain, and won it.
Yeah, youngest ever winner. Youngest ever winner. But controversial. How do you say that word? It all sort of, the controversy around him starts sort of here as well.
Yeah, he was quite an aggressive, well, still is, a very aggressive driver.
Yeah, which I really liked. I enjoyed it. I didn't mind. I thought it was how Formula One should be, because you go back to the Schumacher, as we talked about last week. No, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. You know, he wasn't going to take any nonsense from anybody. So, he arrived and he had a crash in Monaco. He had some contract in Hungary. He had some contact with Ferrari. And Japan, they were talking about him moving under braking against Hamilton.
Yeah, forced Lewis off the track. He had to take like an escape road or something.
And it caused a lot of debate. You know, was it exciting or was it dangerous? Now, for me, it was exciting. Formula One should be dangerous. It shouldn't endanger life, but it should be dangerous. It should be exciting. You should be wheel to wheel. You should be able to bang wheels. Nowadays, you know, it's all, I think he did this. Tell him off, please. Well, no, go and get him. Go and do exactly what he's done to you back to him. You know, get racing. It's so safe now, as we saw with Alonso's crash. Even a huge accident like that, you can walk away from. Grosjean's accident when he caught fire and went under the barrier, he walked away from. They're so safe. You should be able to race now. But it seems the safer we get, the more, handsy we get around them and stuff like that. So
yeah, but I mean, despite those kind of hiccups in Monaco, Hungary, and that, he really showed his potential. Showed something special, especially Brazil.
Oh yeah, when he came through the corner sideways, sort of held it, and
really wet that race.
Yeah, but Max Verstappen's car control is second to none. It's brilliant. So yeah.
And I think we would be doing it injustice if we didn't comment on his teammate season at Red Bull, Mr. Daniel Ricciardo.
The old shoey. Yeah, I mean, a really down to earth, nice guy. Really strong season. And he's a genuinely good driver, but again, he always had really strong teammates. So this was kind of his time to shine, and then they brought Max in. So
who did Max replace? Can you remember? I look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna think though. Daniel Ricciardo, was it Danny Kvyat?
Yeah, it was
Kvyat. It was Kvyat, was it?
Yeah.
Who was shit. Yeah, he was terrible. And you think that Max was with Carlos Sainz, I believe, in the Toro Rosso team. So two very well-known names now, Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz.
Kvyat had a controversial collision with Vettel at the Russian Grand Prix. Then they replaced him after that.
Yeah. He it wasn't just that. He was terrible. He was just not good. And then but we could talk about Monaco for Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah. He was pole position.
Yeah.
Was controlling the race. Was set to win. And then came into pit for a tyre change.
And Red Bull were like, "What are we doing?
Yeah.
Does that need? It needs tyres.
So when we take them off, we have to put new ones on."
Unbelievable. And lost him the race to Lewis.
Kind of defined his season, really.
Yeah, and I do feel sorry for him. I really like Danny Ricciardo.
He did get a win, though, right?
Malaysia. He beat Verstappen.
Yeah, that's where the shoey was introduced.
Which he still does. And it's sort of the
very Aussie thing.
It's the Australian thing now. Everyone will do a shoey. They've kind of adopted it from him. So shall we move on to Ferrari? We touched on them briefly, saying that they started off really strong.
Yeah, and they kind of struggled, didn't they?
Yeah, strategy again. Classic Ferrari. They always mess up the strategy. I don't know who the person is in charge of that, but just give them a pen and let them watch the race, because it seems like they're going right. We need a strategy. Oh, for goodness sake! Let me just pause this film. What? Pit him in a minute. Just watching this Breaking Bad. What should we do with him now? What? Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Tell him to drive.
What do you mean we lost? Strategy? I'm fired. And the next guy's going to be exactly the same as me. And it has been for years. Ferrari mess up strategies. And we've seen it this year already. In Australia, they messed up the strategy. It's just Ferrari's thing. And so, strategy errors, driving mistakes, and a lot of missed opportunities.
Iñaki Ruda was in charge of strategy at Ferrari in 2016, serving as the head of race strategy.
How long did he last?
He joined at the end of 2014, and he held the position through 2016. He was a highly experienced strategist.
Oh.
previously holding the role of chief strategist at the Lotus F1 team from 2011 to 2014.
But yeah, so a lot of errors.
Yeah.
Belgium.
Yeah, chaos start. Ferrari get caught up in incidents. Nico smashes it again.
So they're just not in the title fight at the moment, really, are they?
No.
At all?
No, it's very much just a Mercedes duel the whole season.
That's it. And we mentioned Brazil earlier with Verstappen holding it sideways, probably one of the best holds I've seen in a long time. So let's talk about Brazil.
Yeah, another very wet race like Monaco. And you say one of the greatest drives you've seen in terms of Verstappen, but Lewis absolutely
dominant.
Yeah.
Perfect control, dominance. He drove to perfection.
Would you argue is he the best or up there in contention for the best driver in the wet?
And we were talking about this in our last season review where Schumacher got the title of Rainmeister.
Yeah. Lewis has always performed well in the wet.
He has always performed well in the wet. So's Max.
Probably because he's used to driving in Britain.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's it. If you come through karting and you come through karting in Australia and then move to Europe, or you come through karting in, Crawley or Manchester, it's probably rained a lot. I don't know. It's so hard to say because they kind of take it on one race and they go, oh, he must be amazing. It's like they call George Mr. Saturday. He's been out qualified twice so far this year. So is he still Mr. Saturday or is now Kimi Mr. Saturday? I would still say that Schumacher was amazing in the wet. Really brilliant. And Lando's very good. But then so's Max. I mean, they say, Lewis obviously went on to win the race, but Max held that car at one of the fastest corners in Brazil sideways, lifted off, got it corrected, put it back on, knew a much brake to apply, and then pedal and went. He didn't just correct it, he was doing all of this with his feet. So, I mean, Lewis has won some wet races. I don't think he's the best in the wet, though. I think he's okay. I think he's above par. But I don't think he's the best.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I still give that to Schumacher, by the way.
Okay. All right. Then we come to the finale. Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
More controversy.
Yes. Championship on the line.
Yeah. At this point, Lewis is winning.
Yes.
By 12 points.
Nico is winning by 12 points.
Yes, sorry. Nico's winning by 12 points. Lewis was winning the race.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's kind of where things get a little bit awkward.
Yeah, Lewis wants to win the championship.
Yeah.
He needs to finish 12 or 13 points ahead of.
Yeah.
And maybe only 12, because I think he had more race wins, I think. Don't quote me, but I think so. So what Lewis does is he starts backing Nico into the Ferraris.
Red Bulls.
Was it the Red Bulls?
It was the Red Bulls.
So he starts backing them into the cars behind him.
Yeah, slows him down.
To try and get him to be overtaken by all the cars behind him. I don't see a problem with that. It's been done to Lewis, and Lewis moaned and groaned and everything like that.
It's a tactic, isn't it?
It's a tactic, yeah. You go as
long as you're not endangering somebody.
I can't remember who said it, but they said, I want to win the race as slowly as possible.
Right.
I can't remember who said it. I'm sure somebody in the comments will come and say, I hope it's this person. But yeah, I remember a driver saying, it's a bit like Jackie Stewart, and I lived by this when I was racing, I mentioned. Jackie Stewart said, never put your foot on the accelerator unless you can keep it there.
Right.
Which is a really good rule, because when you go into a corner, a lot of people try and power out and then lift off and go. So Jackie Stewart always said, I'm sure it was Jackie Stewart, it might have been Sterling Moss, never put your foot on the accelerator unless you can keep it there. And it works. But yeah, so Lewis is being Lewis, and we said he didn't use dirty tactics. Well, now we found one. Technically, it's dirty tactics. He's trying to back his teammate in, and Mercedes are going, would you hurry up? And Lewis is going, I'm leading the race, I'm quite comfortable.
So how does that work in terms of this rule change of the radio? And they're not allowed to strategize with him over the radio, but yet they're telling him to go quicker, otherwise he's going to lose.
They can.
Is it just one of those grey areas that they can say?
I think so. Again, we've had a whole season. They're finding loopholes. Things get relaxed. Things move forward. And I think at this point they've gone, well, that's fine. If speed up or we're going to lose the race. They weren't. What they were saying is speed up. This looks shit. On the telly. So yeah. But it didn't work.
No. Nico comes in second. Lewis needed to win, and he needed Nico to come fourth or lower.
Yeah.
So Lewis was, as he's approaching final lap, he comes over the radio and comments. It was something like, I don't care whether I win or lose this race, I've already lost the season.
Yeah.
So, but Nico wins the championship, hits the donuts on the track to celebrate.
They get told every year, don't do donuts, and they all go. I remember Lando last year, they went, don't do donuts. He went, sure.
Yeah.
But then Lewis, in classic Lewis style, and he has mellowed a bit this season, starts crying. And he goes, there were unanswered questions.
Yeah, so the post-season interview I saw with him earlier, he was saying there were some changes made in the garages. They were made on both sides, him and Nico. Some things didn't need to be changed, like the mechanics and the team, and that was great. But then he alluded to something changing on Nico's side of the garage. I don't know what, but was never changed on his side. And he alluded to that having cost him.
So I remember a lot of it. And as you were alluding to, how do you keep two teammates from fighting? Yeah. And they basically put a wall down the middle and separated everybody off. Kept them apart. That was your team. These are your mechanics. These are yours. And I believe that someone from Lewis's side went across to Nico's side. Right. He wasn't a team strategist or anything like that. He wasn't Bono, but went across, and that Lewis would use anything again to say why he didn't win. Now, what is the best? So you've got Lewis crying in your ear. So what does Nico do to get away from that?
Probably drop, I don't know.
Retires.
Oh, drops that bombshell.
Drops that bombshell.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the biggest shocks F1's ever seen.
Do you know?
Just won the championship.
Do you know how he told Toto?
Was it a text?
So they both from Germany. Season ends. They have 24 hours together, celebrating, traveling. They land in, I think it was Frankfurt.
Yeah.
They then go their separate ways. Toto goes to his house. Nico goes to his. 3 minutes after separating, Nico rings him, emotional, I'm retiring.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you to your face. It was too much.
And I get it. And I mean, it was such a shock, but then it opened the door for what we have now.
Yeah.
So it gave George a shot, I believe. No, who replaced Nico?
That didn't answer my question, did it? Valtteri Bottas.
Of course, yeah. So Bottas moved, but it started off and set off a load of driver
Bottas signed
changes
from Williams, which
Yeah.
then prompting Felipe Massa to return to Williams,
Yeah.
which is interesting actually, because Felipe Massa retired that season as well.
Did he?
That's what I said in the recap I watched earlier. Oh no, his was the end of the next season.
17.
Oh, he originally announced his retirement at the end of 2016, but he returned to Williams for one final season.
Yeah, because Button does retire in 16.
Yes, Jensen does.
Now, do you remember we talked about the Grand Slam?
Yes.
Next season, 2017, Button comes back for one race, Monaco.
Yeah.
While Alonso is out doing the IndyCar to try and win the Grand Slam. That was that race.
Okay.
So yeah, just a little thing for you there.
Okay.
And now obviously he's with Sky Sports F1. So yeah, a very good season. Really, really good season. A lot of controversy. If you get a chance to watch the recap of it, I really would. It was a fun season, and Nico coming out on top was brilliant as well. And then the bombshell of him retiring.
Okay. So I think to wrap it up then, I've got some quick fire questions for you based on the season.
Oh no.
They're simple. Did Lewis throw the title away early in the season?
I think he was beaten. I think he was beaten fair and square. Yeah.
Was Nico the better driver or just more consistent?
Consistent. I don't think he's better than Lewis.
Did Mercedes handle the rivalry correctly?
No. No, they didn't.
I think I know what your answer to this one's going to be. Was Verstappen too aggressive or exactly what F1 needed?
What F1 needs. Bring it back. Bring them all in like that.
And is that 2016 one of the best seasons ever?
It was a very, very good season, and it's in the top 10.
Okay.
In the top 10, definitely. Yeah. I think it's purely for the story and the rivalry and the bombshell at the end and Max coming along strong, and yeah, it's got to be in the top 10. I'd put it in my top 10, 100%. Very, very good season.
All right. So that wraps up this week's episode then.
It does.
So that's it for another episode of Under the Visor.
Next week we're going out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So we're going to see how much Karl knows, really, because we're going to have to watch it both, and I'm going to have to study it this week, because we're going to go back even further back in time. Where are we going, Karl?
We are going to be reviewing the 1992 season.
It'll be a surprise for us all. I do have the model of that car. I do know who won the championship, but that's not a surprise, because I could probably go back. Don't test me. I could probably go back a long way. But it's one of those seasons that I wish I'd watched.
Okay.
Because it was on the telly. My dad was watching it. I would have been, 10? 9 or 10? 9. And it was just there when the Sunday lunch was on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just wish I'd watched that season, because that car was awesome. It really was. So that'll be a really good episode, because we can talk about the car and we can talk about the season. And I believe, and we'll answer this. In fact, here's a question.
Mm.
Talk about Formula One, women in Formula One.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure, I'm 100% sure, that in 1992, there was a woman Formula One driver. And I want you to go and find out what driver took her seat in 1992.
Took her seat.
Took her seat in 1992.
Okay.
And if you know, write in the comments.
The only female driver I know, and she's too young to race in the 92 season, and I assume she's a relative of Toto's. I can't remember her first name, but her last name was Wolf.
Susie Wolf.
Susie Wolf.
So that is Susie Stoddard, who was, there used to be a Stoddard Racing.
Yeah.
He's married to Susie, married to Toto Wolf. Is his wife.
Right, okay.
And
so,
yes,
yeah,
she has done driving.
Racer.
She's done some Williams and stuff like that. Yes, but no, she married Toto. She used to be called Susie Stoddard. Okay. But yeah, so if you know, you know. You can get a model of the car of it as well, and it's a big name. So go and have a look, work it out. Come back next season with that's Tom's trivia moment in Formula One. Can we get a jingle?
We've got one apparently.
There it is. So yeah, so that'll be a really good thing.
Okay. So whichever platform you're watching us on, remember we're on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts at the moment. So make sure to like, rate, subscribe, comment, ask us any questions. All of our social media bits and bobs are in the description of the episode. And
we will catch you next week, going back to 1992. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.